I heard about this so-called settlement, but the first red flag that reaches out to me is that the M23 rebels are saying they're not really a part of it, or they haven't really signed in on it properly yet. And if they haven't, that's like saying you've made a peace deal with Germany, but they're not really part of the peace deal because the fighting has not. It's not about nothing. I think all they're saying is that we have decided to enter into peace deal agreements. It's being made to seem as if it's a permanent end to the war, but it's nothing like that. And there's also the ongoing struggles that I see between America and China for those rare earth materials that they need for their smartphones, the cobalt and the copper and all of that. So there's also it appears that Rwanda had been taking undue advantage of some of the gains that they made in the civil war and making use of these minerals that actually belong to the Congolese side. And so there's now questions about what's going to happen with that, because that's the Rwandan backs. We believe that Rwanda is being backed by the West, and they are the ones that are causing all this kind of trouble. And now they're trying to cut back on USAID. Do not call it USAID. And that might be part of the things that they're trying to cut back on. But with the trillions, I mean, it's over, is it 36 trillion or 12 trillion?
24 trillion.
$24 trillion worth of rare earth materials that are needed for technology. It's going to be priceless. I don't think that, and funnily enough, China is quite dependent on the cobalt resources there as well. So this is as much an economic as it is a military struggle. So let's see how it pans out. Will China still come out on top? Are we still going to see a situation where America, through the use of Rwanda and its backing, manages to find itself important in this region?
Well, we'll see what happens. But the main thing is that, so this is supposed to be an agreement between Rwanda and Congo. And as you said, is it what's the name of the guy? 29, MC29?
M23. M23.
I'm thinking about Formula One. M23 said that they're not bound to it because they're not part of that government. But we know they're being backed by Rwanda. And moreover, Rwanda has not even really recognized that they have troops there. It's apparently people believe that they have 4,000 troops in Congo. So Rwanda will be like, yeah, treaty, but we don't have troops there anyway, if you understand what I'm saying. So they're not even admitting that they have troops. So they can just say, yeah, we won't send troops, prove that we have troops there already. But let's just say that they will remove the troops. They're saying that even if they do have troops, they're not going to remove those until FDLR. I think they claim that FDLR, which is a Hutu rebels, are aggressing them in Rwanda too. So they can always say, well, until those rebels stop, the FDLR rebels stop, we're not going to stop aggressing Congo. And then the FDLR rebels, who are actually fractional and may not even be unified with the president of Congo, can also say, we're not going to stop. So there's a lot of different groups that are in this battle that are ungovernable because they don't follow the mandate of Rwanda or Congo. But I think the main thing here is this is another optics for Trump. Let's look at what Trump has done over the past couple of months. He invited South Africa over and said, we love your country and we're going to let immigrants come in. And also we might even debate that maybe there's no white genocide. He made friends. He shook hands with Ramaphosa. Then he shook hands with Iran and Israel. It says, I love Iran. I love Israel. I love the Middle East. He's doing all these deals, supposed deals that make him look good, but they're all basically substanceless to make him look good. Then he also said, we're going to settle this thing with Congo, and we're going to get a lot of their minerals. The way he said it was even it was so gauche, so uncivilized. He couldn't even hide it and say, we'll work together with trade. He said, we'll get your minerals. It's almost like they don't have a willpower of their own. They're just going to give it to you. But he's saying that because that's what Americans like to hear. The truth of the matter is that area is complex. And in order for the minerals in Congo to be used for trade, China, the U.S., and a lot of transnational organizations are going to have to work together to build infrastructure, and their companies can compete for that land. I don't think America is just going to overtake unless the president of Congo just wants to sell all of his resources to America. He might want to do that, but if he does that, that means he's a traitor. Because what he should be doing is like what those guys are doing in Burkina Faso, in which you take hold of your own resources, then you work out deals with other countries for trade. But if he just gives it to Trump, what it means then is that America's strategy has worked. They kept his country unstable, and they said, unless you give us your minerals, we'll continue to throw Rwanda on you and throw the M39, M28, is it M28?
M23.
M23 rebels on you. So this is like mafia. Mafia will send people to beat you up. Then it's okay, we'll make peace, but now give us your resources. If that's what America's trying to do, they may get that, but that's a lot of stuff, 24 trillion. And I think China has investments in there, which they're not going to give up. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, you said it all. The M23, one major reason why this peace accord or agreement won't work is exclusion of M23 and other militias from the agreement. It leaves a major gap in the peace process. And another thing is that there's a lack of sanctions or penalties. There's no deterrent for anybody that breaches this deal. So there should be some kind of enforcement. It's not about policies. The enforcement and the drivers of the policies are very important here. And then they need to look at the root causes too. There have been ethnic tensions. Even though Rwanda professes to be a country, they're still basically Hutus and Tutsis. And you can see that the president himself, Kagame, is still supporting M23 because M23 was basically set up to defend the Tutsis against Hutu aggression. So the country is still fractured, and the Hutus and the Tutsis in Congo
but I would say that the Tutsis pretty much control that country, though.
Yeah, so and it shouldn't be so. So there's still ethnic division, and there's a lot of animosity even in between the Hutus and the Tutsis in Congo as well. And you can see what Kagame is doing. M23 is just a proxy for him to get the coltans, the lithium, and all these rich.
And he's a proxy. He's a proxy of America.
Proxy of America, and America is doing this also so that they can remain competitive because they know that China too is doing business with these people, because a lot of the raw materials they use for all these lithium batteries and all these things, China gets it from these African countries. So this is economic leveraging for America. They don't care who dies and who is alive. America doesn't really care. So basically, I think it's the economic gains.
It depends on the president of Congo, what he wants to do, because America is not going to send military people there. The American economy is stretched. They can't do much. The only thing they can do is bribe the president. But you can best believe China will also bribe him too. And I still think China is looking out for better interests. They give better deals to countries. If Congo were smart, they'd become part of BRICS. But the problem is that the U.S. will unleash Rwanda on them. Rwanda is like Israel. They're located in an area where there are resources, and they're being used to aggress countries that have resources. The same way Israel is going after Iran and trying to extend its borders. So Rwanda is the Israel of East Africa. What do you think, Kunle?
Kagame is an American soldier.
Yeah, he is. He's American.
That region is also one of the wealthiest regions in the globe when it comes to precious minerals and metals and all of that. I don't think it's not just that $24 trillion. There's lots more of this. And America does seem to be falling back in Africa. Especially everything seems to be connected. When they started getting exposed to the investments that Israel also has in the Congo, and they are also responsible for a lot of these things, and their investments are also being used to drive this civil war and unrest, which allows these Western countries to reap and collect and enjoy the resources, whilst everybody turns a blind eye to the slaughter. So, because America, its main export has been war. That's how it makes its money. It projects its power and forces you to trade in its currency. It doesn't bring any general wealth to you. They do not provide anything for you. They take from you, and they want to take from you as much as possible, and they don't really give back. China gives back. And that's why China is such a problem for the West. China gives back. China wants to see its partners become wealthy because it feels if its partners are wealthy and successful, they can make more money for it. America and West believes that if their partners are destroyed, that they can suckle on the blood of those junior partners to become wealthy. And that's the basic difference between BRICS and G7. And that's why I still see that in the long run, China will eventually win out in this struggle for resources in that region.
Yeah. And I even hear that they pay mercenaries to kill Chinese mining people there, the U.S. They pay mercenaries to kill, just to sort of frustrate them. That's terrorism. The U.S. is going to pay for a lot of the crimes that's done all over the world, man. That's all I have to say. What do you think, Falabi? Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I feel that the long-term peace in the region cannot be achieved only through military arrangements like this one. There should be some kind of, dialogue, because there are a lot of ethnic discrimination, poverty, and impunity that must be addressed at the level of leadership and governance. And there's no how the U.S. can say that they are in this for anything other than profit and material gain, because most of the cobalt, lithium, and tantalum that they get from these places, they use it in their energy, defense, and tech industries. That's going to help their supply chain to a large extent. And then if their companies too come into DRC, it opens up opportunities for Western companies, especially mining. So what they're trying to do here is just economic, leverage. And like Kule said, the Western model is parasitic. They are not symbiotic like BRICS bloc. They just want to suck you so that you suffer at the end. But China looks to find a way, a win-win situation where those that they are partnering with are also developing and growing. So that's just basically what I see this all about. US is just trying to, be more competitive against China.
And the tensions flared up in January or earlier this year when M23 gained some ground and everything. That was just the US with its usual destabilization tactics. Same thing as with these attacks that Israel did on Iran. So I don't see the conflict getting deeper anytime soon. But the thing is that the area is still tense. There's still fighting going on. I think
it's still very volatile.
In a small village, I forgot which area it was, but there were some people killed, like 23 people killed. So there'll be small sectarian violence like in Nigeria, but there's not going to be an all-out war. And that's the main problem. That it seems like Congo there's been a war for decades. There's really a civil war.
Rwanda wants to secede the eastern part of Congo. I think that's what their plan is. Cessation.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So
out of Congo.
And this is, I'll end with this. This is nobody's fault except for Africans. Corrupt leaders. Kagame is corrupt. The CIA, trained by the CIA. The president of Congo himself is corrupt. Congo generally has corrupt presidents who just want to sit in their throne. That's why they have so many sectarian groups in Congo. Because if you go to the villages, if you go outside of Kinshasa and you go to the rural areas, people are living very in poverty, but that place has so many minerals. Congo's leaders have sold out all of his minerals to foreigners. Even the president now, he's not a sovereign person. He's just making money off of those minerals, and he's not moving forward towards once again socialism. And so this is a problem. It's also the fault of other African nations that we don't have an African Union which is supposed to settle this whole issue. We're supposed to have an African Union which settles this. So the guys from South Africa, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, everywhere can come and meet and say, hey, this is our continent. All of our countries need to be sovereign, but we don't even want that. Remember 2 years ago, Nigeria was talking about attacking, was it Niger? Because of the oil pipelines.
Yeah.
So Nigeria is doing the bidding of France and Britain. So Tinubu is a traitor. Rwanda is a traitor. Not Rwanda. Kagame is a traitor. All of these guys are traitors. So the real reason this rubbish is going on in Congo is because the African leaders are selfish. What are your thoughts, Kunle, before we head out? Yeah.
Yes, corruption is forever the scourge of the road to prosperity for African countries, and it is no different, sadly, in the Congo. Nigeria wants to take on that Mobutu legacy type leadership. Is the fear that people are seeing in Nigeria. And when you have that sort of system, you know that it's just for one thing and one thing only. So your leader prospers whilst the country gets raped. And much of that wealth go to G7, to the West. And that is the curse that Africa is under, the curse that the Congo, the wealthiest part of Africa, and Nigeria, the largest population giant of Africa, these areas are still in chains. They are still in chains. We are levied up and we are borrowed up to 30 years of debt. So my grandchild will be 30 years old. My unborn grandchild will be 30 years old when we're clearing the debts that this Tinubu government has put up.
That's if you end up clearing it.
Yeah. By the time he's 30, when he's 30, he'll be saying that his great grandfather great grandson will clear the debt. That shit is getting deeper every day. The number is getting higher.
Yes, I don't know if God knows how much of the futures have been sold off in the Congo by said governments as well. So we hope for Africa that we can take our countries back, nationalize our industries, and bring prosperity back and basic justice to the common man.
Yeah, amen. All right, so take us out. Very good show, guys. So, Kule, I'll see you tomorrow morning for Political Animals again. Take us out of Valerie. Thank you, guys.
Okay, another show. We have been discussing the fragile.
What did you say?
Sorry.
What did you say?
I'm not going to be tomorrow until late in the day. I've got a long day tomorrow.
Oh, what, like 6, 7, 8, 7 p.m.? We'll see. Okay.
5. Yeah, anytime from 5 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, take us out of Valerie.
Okay, it's been another brilliant political show. We've been discussing DR Congo and Rwanda and the fragile peace agreement that was brokered by the United States in Washington. And from me, Mustafa and Kune, we'll be back again.
All right, see you guys. Have a good one.